The Vex Dominion's walkers first appeared in the skies above New Montana on a clear autumn morning. They descended like metallic meteors, their angular bodies reflecting the colony's twin suns as they breached the atmosphere. The colony's defense force could only watch as 12 towering machines, each standing over 30 stories tall, unfolded themselves with terrifying precision. Commander Sarah Chen stood at the command center's viewport, her weathered face illuminated by emergency lighting. 20 years of military service hadn't prepared her for this moment. The colonial defense fleet lay in ruins, its ships scattered across the system like broken toys. "Ma'am," Lieutenant Park's voice cracked slightly. "The quantum comm is dead. We can't reach Earth Command." Sarah nodded, unsurprised. The Vex had systematically destroyed their communication capabilities within the first hour of arrival. Their strategy spoke of careful planning, of an enemy that had studied humanity's weaknesses. "Show me the walker specs again," she ordered, turning to the holographic display. The alien machines defied conventional military doctrine. Their leg joints should have buckled under their own weight. Their armor should have compromised their mobility. Yet they moved with impossible grace, each step devastating everything in their path. Deep in the command bunker, Dr. James Morrison, the colony's chief archaeologist, burst through the security checkpoint. "Commander, you need to see this. Now." Under different circumstances, Sarah might have reprimanded him for the breach in protocol. But with alien war machines advancing on their position, old rules seemed less important. "Make it quick, Doctor." "It's about Project Atlas," he said, spreading old-style paper documents across her tactical display. "The reason I was sent to New Montana wasn't just for the prehistoric artifacts. There's something else here, something we built." Sarah's eyes narrowed as she studied the yellowed papers. Blueprints, technical specifications, and project notes from nearly 50 years ago. Project Atlas was decommissioned before I was born. The Walker program was a failure. James shook his head emphatically. "No, not a failure. They were ahead of their time. The project was shut down because the AI they planned to use wasn't sophisticated enough. But look at these designs." His finger traced the mechanical layouts. "They solved the weight distribution problems. They created adaptive hydraulic systems that could learn and improve. They just couldn't build a brain good enough to run it." "We have better AI now," Sarah mused, her mind racing. "Where is it?" 3 kilometers beneath the Franklin mountain range, in a bunker designed to survive a direct nuclear strike. Sarah studied the approaching Vex walkers on her tactical display. They had perhaps 4 hours before the aliens reached the colony's main settlement. 4 hours to either evacuate 3 million civilians or find a way to fight back. "Lieutenant Park," she called out, "get me Chief Engineer Rodriguez. Tell her to bring her best team. And find me every AI specialist still alive in this colony." "Ma'am," Park questioned, "what are we doing?" Sarah Chen allowed herself a grim smile. "We're going to wake up Mary." "Mary. That's what the original team called her," James explained, pointing to a handwritten note in the margin of the blueprints. "Project Atlas Mobile Artillery Response Yemen Arc. Mary, they built her to fight a war that never came. Maybe she was just waiting for this one." As emergency klaxons wailed through the command center, Sarah felt something she hadn't expected. Hope. The Vex had come prepared for humanity's current technology, their current strategies, but they couldn't have prepared for what humanity had buried and forgotten. "Dr. Morrison," she said, gathering the old documents, "tell me everything you know about Mary, and tell me fast." The next few hours would determine not just the fate of New Montana, but perhaps of humanity itself. As Sarah Chen led her team toward the Franklin mountain range, the ground trembled beneath the approaching Vex walkers. But deep below the mountains, something else waited. Something that would remind the aliens why humans had survived every catastrophe their world had thrown at them. It was time to see if Mary still knew how to dance. Chief Engineer Maya Rodriguez stood in the cavernous underground hangar, her headlamp illuminating decades of dust. Before her loomed Mary, a colossus of dark steel and titanium alloy that made her feel like an ant before a mountain. The walker's distinctive three-legged design differed radically from the Vex machines above, where they were sleek and angular. Mary was all curves and reinforced joints, built to weather any storm. "Tell me some good news, Chief," Commander Chen said, approaching with Dr. Morrison and their hastily assembled team of specialists. Maya ran her hand along Mary's outer hull, feeling the cold metal beneath layers of protective coating. "She's been preserved perfectly. The original team knew what they were doing. Sealed environment, controlled temperature, even maintenance robots that kept running until their batteries died." The distant rumble of Vex walkers resonated through the mountain. Time was running out. "The main problem isn't mechanical," Maya continued, leading them toward the central control hub. "It's cognitive. The original AI core is completely outdated. We need something that can handle the massive sensory input and reaction times required for a machine this size." Dr. Kavita Patel, the colony's leading AI specialist, stepped forward. Her dark eyes reflected determination despite her obvious exhaustion. "I think I have a solution. We've been developing a neural network for the colony's atmospheric processors. It's designed to handle multiple complex systems simultaneously." "Will it be enough?" Sarah asked. "Not alone," Kavita admitted, "but combined with the original handling protocols." She trailed off, studying the ancient computer systems. "We don't need to make her think like a modern AI. We need her to think like what she is, a warrior." Maya's team worked with desperate efficiency. They integrated modern quantum processors with Mary's original systems, creating a hybrid that respected the brilliant engineering of the past while embracing the innovations of the present. Each hour brought more tremors from above as the Vex walkers drew closer to the colony. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Lieutenant Zora Wei, a young pilot with a background in classical mechanics, noticed something in the original design documents. "Look at this," she said, pointing to a series of equations. They weren't trying to build a traditional AI at all. They were creating a mechanical nervous system. "Mary doesn't need to think. She needs to feel." Maya felt a chill run down her spine as she realized the implications. They were ahead of their time in more ways than one. This isn't just a war machine. It's an extension of its pilot. The next hours passed in a blur of calibrations and neural interface testing. They installed Kavita's AI as a support system, but the primary control would come through a direct neural link with the pilot. It was elegant, terrifying, and absolutely brilliant. "We need a pilot," Commander Chen announced. "Someone who can handle the neural load." Lieutenant Wei stepped forward before anyone else could speak. "I've studied every detail of her systems. I understand how she moves, how she thinks. Let me try." Maya watched as they helped Zara into the neural interface cradle. The young pilot's face showed no fear, only fierce concentration as the systems came online. Mary's massive frame shuddered, decades-old hydraulics pressurizing with a sound like distant thunder. "Neural sync at 67%, Kavita reported. 68, 70. Zara's eyes snapped open, but Maya could tell she was seeing something else entirely, seeing through Mary's external sensors, feeling through her pressure plates and motion detectors. "How does it feel?" Commander Chen asked. Like I've grown into a giant," Zara answered, her voice filled with wonder. "I can feel everything. The air currents, the vibrations from above, the weight of the mountain around us. She's not just a machine, Commander. She's alive." Another tremor shook the facility, stronger than before. Maya checked her tablet and felt her heart skip. Vex walkers directly above us, less than 2 kilometers and closing. Commander Chen's face hardened with resolve. "Lieutenant Wei, are you and Mary ready for a fight?" Zara flexed Mary's massive hands, hydraulics whining with anticipation. "No, Commander. We're ready for a war." As the team rushed to their stations, Maya said a silent prayer, not for victory, but for the Vex to understand their mistake. They had come expecting to find primitive humans cowering beneath their superior technology. Instead, they would face something unique: human ingenuity married to mechanical might, guided by a pilot who could feel every movement as if it were her own. The mountain trembled again, and this time Mary trembled with it, ready to show the aliens exactly what humanity could do when pushed to the edge. The first rays of dawn painted the sky crimson as Mary emerged from her mountain tomb. Lieutenant Wei guided the massive walker through the concealed hangar doors with a dancer's grace, each step sending tremors through the rocky ground. Inside the neural interface cradle, Zara felt every movement as if it were her own body, Mary's sensors extending her consciousness across the machine's vast frame. 3 Vex walkers approaching from the northeast. Maya reported from the command module nestled deep within Mary's chest. Their energy signatures suggest they're running active scanning protocols. Commander Chen's voice crackled through the internal comm system. Remember, we have one advantage they don't expect. They're looking for modern technology. Mary's analog systems should be invisible to their advanced scanners. Zara moved Mary behind a ridge of weathered rock, feeling the morning wind across external pressure sensors. The Vex machines strode through the valley below, their silver frames gleaming like polished mirrors. Each step of their 4-legged design was precisely calculated, impossibly elegant. "They're beautiful," Zara whispered. "And deadly," Kavita added, monitoring the AI support systems. "We're picking up energy builds in their weapon arrays. They know something's here, even if they can't get a clear read." Zara settled Mary into a combat stance, decades-old service humming with anticipation. The massive railgun mounted on her right shoulder rotated into position, while the left arm's plasmacaster charged with a low whine. But Mary's true strength lay in her legs, 3 titanium pillars designed for both stability and explosive movement. The first Vex walker passed directly beneath their position. Zara held her breath, feeling Mary's systems aligned perfectly with her own racing heartbeat. The moment stretched like elastic about to snap. "Now," Commander Chen ordered. Mary launched from her hiding spot with devastating force, tons of metal and composite armor moving with impossible speed. The Vex walker never saw the attack coming. Mary's right leg connected with its midsection in a thunderous impact, crumpling the alien machine's perfect geometry. "Target their leg joints," Maya shouted, reading data from Mary's combat computer. "Their armor is weakest at the articulation points." Zara was already moving, neural interface translating thought into action faster than any traditional control system. Mary's railgun roared, launching depleted uranium slugs at hypersonic velocities. The rounds punched through the second Vex walker's knee joint, sending it crashing to the ground. The third walker reacted with inhuman speed, energy weapons powering up with a distinctive high-pitched whine. But it was calibrated to track modern targeting systems, not the barbaric simplicity of Mary's optical tracking. "They're trying to hack our guidance systems," Kavita reported calmly. "Joke's on them. Can't hack hydraulic pressure and mechanical linkages." Zara felt a fierce grin spread across her face as she guided Mary into close combat. The Vex walker's energy beams sliced through the air where they predicted a modern combat system would move. But Mary didn't think like a computer. She moved like a human, unpredictable, instinctive, alive. Mary's plasmacaster unleashed a torrent of superheated matter point-blank into the Vex machine's sensor array. The alien walker staggered, its perfect coordination disrupted. Zara pressed the advantage, feeling the strain through Mary's hydraulics as they grappled with the larger machine. "Warning," the AI support system announced. "Structural stress approaching maximum tolerance." "Mary can take it," Zara growled, pushing harder. With a sound like tearing metal, she ripped the Vex walker's head unit clean off its shoulders. The alien machine collapsed, its remaining limbs twitching uselessly. Silence fell across the battlefield. Through Mary's sensors, Zara surveyed their handiwork. 3 Vex walkers, among the most advanced war machines in known space, lying broken in the valley. Mary stood tall among them, steam rising from her hydraulics in the cool morning air. "Status report," Commander Chen demanded. Maya's voice was filled with barely contained excitement. Minor damage to external armor plating. All systems functioning within parameters. She's not even breathing hard, Commander. They'll adapt, Kavita warned. The next wave will come prepared for close combat. Let them come, Zora said, feeling MAROE's systems pulse in harmony with her own determination. We'll show them that humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology. It's our ability to take the old and make it new again. To turn forgotten dreams into present-day nightmares for anyone foolish enough to underestimate us. As if in answer, Mary's systems rumbled with power, ready for whatever came next. The battle for New Montana had only just begun, but humanity had finally found its answer to the Vex threat. Not in advanced AI or quantum weapons, but in the perfect fusion of human spirit and mechanical might. Commander Chen's voice carried a hint of pride. Move to defensive positions around the colony. We've got more coming, and this time they'll know we can hurt them. Good, Zara replied, guiding Mayrai into motion. Time to show them what else this old girl can do. 6 days of constant combat had transformed the landscape around New Montana into a mechanical graveyard. Broken Vex walkers lay scattered across the valleys and ridges, their once pristine forms now serving as stark monuments to humanity's defiance. Inside Mary's command module, exhaustion had become a constant companion to her crew. Incoming transmission from the Vex command ship, Kavita announced, her fingers dancing across holographic displays. They're broadcasting on all frequencies. No encryption. Maya looked up from where she was adjusting Mary's hydraulic pressure regulators. Dark circles ringed her eyes, but her hands remained steady. That's new. They usually love their codes. Put it through, Commander Chen ordered. A voice filled the command module, artificial and multi-toned. Human defenders, you have demonstrated unexpected proficiency in combat. Your primitive technology has proven problematic. We offer terms for your surrender. Zara laughed from her neural cradle, the sound echoing through Mary's internal communications. They're scared. They've lost 37 walkers trying to take this colony, and they don't understand how. Your assessment is flawed, the Vex voice continued. We have analyzed your weapon platform extensively. Its design is inefficient. Its systems are outdated. By all logical metrics, it should not function as effectively as it does. That's because you don't understand what Mary really is, Maya replied, patting the walker's interior wall affectionately. She's not just a weapon platform. She's a testament to the human stubbornness. Commander Chen stepped forward. Here are our terms. Leave this system. Never return. Otherwise, we'll demonstrate just how inefficient we can be. The response came in the form of a massive energy surge from orbit. New signatures appeared on their tactical displays, dozens of them, descending through the atmosphere. Multiple heavy walker signatures detected, Kavita reported, larger than anything we've seen before. And something else. Something big. Through Mary's external sensors, they watched as a massive shape emerged from the clouds. It dwarfed the regular Vex walkers, its crystalline structure catching the sunlight like a mountain made of mirrors. 6 legs, each thick as a building, carried a body that seemed to defy physics. The Hierophant, Maya whispered, reading the incoming sensor data. Their command walker. It's not just a machine. It's a mobile fortress. Zara closed her eyes, feeling MAROE's systems integrate more deeply with her consciousness. Over the past 6 days, the neural link had grown stronger, more intuitive. Sometimes she couldn't tell where she ended and Mayrai began. It doesn't matter how big they are, she said softly. Size isn't everything. Mary taught us that. Commander Chen studied the tactical displays, her expression grim. They're trying to surround the colony. Standard Vex doctrine. Establish a perimeter, then let the big gun do its work. Not if we hit them first, Maya suggested, pulling up Mary's maintenance logs. I've been working on something. A way to push the hydraulic systems past their normal limits. It'll put enormous strain on both Mayrai and Zara. But do it, Zara interrupted. Mayuri and I can handle it. Kavita looked up from her station, concern evident in her eyes. The neural feedback could be dangerous. We don't know what that level of integration might do to your mind. We know what the Vex will do to the colony if we fail, Zara countered. Maya, make the adjustments. Kavita, divert more power to the neural interfaces. Commander, give us a target. Sarah Chen stood silent for a moment, weighing the risks against their dwindling options. Finally, she nodded. The Hierophant's lead elements are pushing through the Eastern Valley. If we can disrupt their formation before they establish firing positions, we can force them to fight us on our terms. Maya finished, already implementing the modifications, in close quarters where their size works against them. As Maya worked, Zara felt Mayuri's systems change, power flowing through circuits and hydraulics like blood through veins. The sensation was intoxicating, terrifying, and somehow right. They had started as pilot and machine, but they had become something more, a fusion of human instinct and mechanical power. All modifications complete, Maya announced. Hydraulic pressure at 130% of recommended maximum. Neural interface operating beyond design parameters. Zara, are you sure about this? Zara opened her eyes, but she wasn't seeing through them anymore. She saw through Mayuri's sensors, felt through her pressure plates, existed in every circuit and piston of her massive frame. We're sure. Mayuri and I. We understand each other now. We know what needs to be done. Commander Chen's voice carried both authority and concern. Then let's remind the Vex why humanity has survived every threat we've ever faced. Not because we're stronger or more advanced, but because we never, ever learn when to quit. As Mayuri's systems powered up to their new dangerous levels, Zara felt a curious sense of peace. They had built this machine to fight a war that never came, but perhaps that wasn't quite right. Maybe Mayuri had been waiting all those years for exactly this moment, for a pilot who would understand her, a crew who would believe in her, and an enemy who needed to learn that humanity's greatest weapons weren't the ones that looked the most impressive. They were the ones that carried the human spirit within their steel hearts. The Hierophant's shadow fell across the valley like an artificial eclipse. Mayuri stood before it, a defender of flesh and steel facing a titan of crystal and light. The size difference was almost comical, like a warrior challenging a mountain. Multiple targeting locks detected, Kavita reported, her voice steady despite the tension. They're trying every frequency, every scanning method they know. Maya's hands flew across her engineering console, rerouting power through the old circuits. Let them waste time scanning for quantum signatures. They won't find any. Inside her neural cradle, Zara felt Mayuri's enhanced systems sing with dangerous power. The modifications had pushed them far beyond their design limits, but neither machine nor pilot cared anymore. They had transcended mere mechanical limitations. Remember, Commander Chen said, we only need to wound it badly enough to force a retreat. Don't try to destroy it outright. That's a fight we can't win. The Hierophant moved with impossible grace for its size, each step precise and measured. Energy weapons charged along its crystalline frame, creating a web of deadly light. Around it, smaller Vex walkers moved into supporting positions, their formations perfect. Too perfect. They're still thinking like machines, Zara whispered. Still following protocols and patterns. Mayuri, let's show them how humans dance. Mayuri erupted into motion, her enhanced hydraulics launching them forward with devastating force. The Vex walkers opened fire, their energy beams slicing through the space where their targeting computers predicted they would be. But Mayuri moved like her pilot's instincts, unpredictable, organic, alive. The first Vex walker fell to a point-blank railgun shot through its power core. The second barely had time to register the threat before Mayuri's plasma caster melted through its leg joints. The third tried to retreat and was crushed beneath Mayuri's massive fist. Warning, the AI support system announced. Hydraulic pressure exceeding safety margins. Neural feedback approaching critical levels. Zara ignored the warnings, pushing deeper into the neural link. She felt every bullet impact, every strain on Mary's frame, as if it were her own body. Pain became irrelevant. They moved as one being, driven by a single purpose. The Hierophant responded with overwhelming force. Multiple weapon systems activated simultaneously, filling the air with deadly energy. Mary took a glancing hit to her left shoulder, armor plating glowing red-hot. "Direct hit," Maya shouted. "External plating compromised." "Doesn't matter," Zara growled. "We're close enough now." Mary launched herself upward, using her powerful legs to leap onto one of the Hierophant's lower limbs. Metal screamed against crystal as they began to climb, each movement a challenge to the laws of physics themselves. "They're trying to shake us off," Kavita reported, detecting massive power buildup in their main weapon array. "Let them try," Commander Chen said, understanding Zora's strategy. "They can't bring their heavy weapons to bear this close without damaging themselves." Mayuri reached the Hierophant's main body, her hands finding purchase in the gaps between crystal plates. The massive alien walker thrashed, trying to dislodge this impudent human machine that dared to challenge it directly. "Now," Zora commanded, and Mary's remaining weapons opened fire point-blank into the Hierophant's sensor arrays. Railgun rounds shattered crystal armor. Plasma bolts melted through power conduits. But most devastating was the simple, brutal force of Mayuri's fists, pounding away at the weak points Maya had identified. The Hierophant's crystalline form began to crack, spreading fractures racing across its surface like lightning. Its movements became erratic, perfect coordination failing as systems crashed. "They're pulling back," Kavita announced. "Multiple Vex signatures breaking orbit. The invasion fleet is retreating." The Hierophant took one final desperate swing at Mary, its massive limb moving with enough force to level a building. But Zara had anticipated this, had felt it coming through Mary's sensors. They rolled with the impact, using the momentum to tear free another section of crystal armor before leaping clear. Mary landed hard, hydraulics screaming in protest. Through the neural link, Zara felt systems failing, power levels dropping. They had pushed far beyond their limits, but they had achieved the impossible. The Hierophant rose into the sky, its once perfect form now scared and broken. Around it, the remaining Vex walkers followed, retreating from a battle they could no longer comprehend. They had come expecting to find primitive humans using obsolete technology. Instead, they had found something their logical minds couldn't process: the pure, unstoppable force of human determination. "Neural link disengaging," Kavita reported softly. "Both Mayuri and Zara's vital signs are stabilizing." Maya was already moving through the command module, assessing damage. "We'll need weeks to repair everything we broke, maybe months. But she'll walk again." Commander Chen placed a gentle hand on Zora's neural cradle as the systems powered down. "You did it, Lieutenant. Both of you did." Zara opened her eyes slowly, readjusting to seeing through human senses again. But she could still feel Mayuri's presence, a ghost of their connection lingering. "No," she said, her voice hoarse but proud. "We all did it. Mary isn't just a machine. She's everyone who built her, everyone who believed in her, and everyone who brought her back to life when we needed her most." As the sun set over New Montana, Mary stood tall among the wreckage of humanity's enemies. She was damaged but undefeated, a testament to the truth that the Vex had failed to understand. Humanity's greatest strength wasn't in our technology or our numbers, but in our ability to take the discarded dreams of the past and forge them into the miracles of the present. The Vex had come with massive combat walkers, expecting an easy victory. Instead, they had learned why humans had survived every catastrophe their history had thrown at them. Not because they were stronger or more advanced, but because they never stopped believing in the impossible. And sometimes, the impossible believed right back.